Hey, Ecom Masters, welcome to the show. My name is Mike Weiss, Chief Community Officer at Dropified, and as a thank you for tuning in to the e-commerce mastery show, we've put together a special podcast-only e-commerce training just for you. Now, in it, you're going to learn the ins and outs of how to set up your own brand of products where you can literally put your own labels, brands, logos, and messaging over top of top-selling, in-demand, high-quality, high-profit products that are exclusive to supplements, CBD, skincare, and pet products. And here's the key: no minimum order quantities, no upfront inventory costs. And I'm going to show you how to do this in literally minutes. Now, guys, we refined these principles over the course of 5 years with working with over 100,000 of our own e-compreneur customers just like you. So to get immediate 100% free access, all you got to do is go to dropified.com/podcast-special, or you can just click the link below and you're going to learn exactly how we do this in just minutes. Thank you so much for being part of the Dropified family and enjoy the show.
Nathan, I would love to hear the story of how you exited FreeUp.
Not sure how far back you want me to go, but I mean, I was a big Amazon seller and I scaled an Amazon business. And when I got to the point where I needed to hire people, I really struggled to hire college kids. So when I finally gave up on that, I got into the VA world. A buddy of mine told me about Upwork and Fiverr, and I started hiring VAs. And I made every good and bad decision that you could make, every mistake that was out there. And I learned just a lot about hiring. And I also just didn't like those other platforms. And I set out to build my own. So I created a marketplace called FreeUp. We started it with a $5,000 investment. And we essentially went to other Amazon sellers, because I was an Amazon seller. I had a Rolodex of Amazon VAs and freelancers. And I said, hey, I have these people that are already vetted. You can use them. I'll take a percentage. We'll protect you if anything goes wrong. And they really liked it and quickly ran out of freelancers, ran out of VAs. So we had to create a recruiting process. And when we launched this, we had this really crummy software, like minimum viable product. The marketplace platform did very little, and people loved the freelancers, they loved the service, but they hated our software. So as we started to make more money and get more Amazon sellers, we invested in the software and added the affiliate program in there and the billing and all these different features, ticketing systems and all that. And we scaled it very organically with a blueprint that we used VAs to do, a lot of which we teach now at Outsource School, which is getting on podcasts, networking, putting out content, having partners, having an affiliate program, going after influencers to get you to promote us. And from there, we scaled this thing from a $5,000 investment to $1 million, $5 million, $9 million to $12 million by year 4. And we also branched out of the Amazon space. So we worked with other e-commerce sellers, Shopify, Walmart. We also got into the marketing space, working with agencies and coaches. And one day, one of our clients, the Hawk, reached out to us and they said, hey, FreeUp, we've been using it for a while. We want to get into the VA freelancer space. We own a bunch of different companies, and we'd love to know if you're open to being acquired. And at that time, we didn't really know what to think, but they got some information from us, asked questions, ended up making us an offer that we felt like was more than fair, if not aggressive. And from there, the due diligence began. I mean, they had a million questions about us and how everything worked, and having a really great team plus really good standard operating procedures played a big part in that and making us look good. And from our side, we did due diligence on them. I mean, we wanted to know that we weren't going to sell it to someone who's going to drive it into the ground or hurt our reputation or hurt our team. And we got to visit their office in Florida and meet with them and learn their long-term vision and learn about their past success and failures and all of that. And then once we felt comfortable selling it to them, it was how do we create it so it's a win-win for everyone? Because we knew our team would be sad that we were leaving. That was definitely one of the harder parts. So we took $500,000 from the sale and gave it to our internal team to make sure they were taken care of. We had that as part of the agreement. And from there, we kind of looked at it as a win for the new owners, a win for us, a win for the clients and freelancers on the platform, and a win for our internal team. And it's tough to turn down something that's a win-win. So we did a 60-day transition, and then we started working on our next venture, Outsource School.
And how did you make the decision to move from post acquisition into Outsource School?
Yeah, a lot of thinking, a lot of conversations. I mean, when we sold it, I think the first conversation was with my business partner, Connor. Hey, do we still want to work together, right? Do we still like working together? And luckily, he still liked working with me and vice versa. And from there, I mean, what you have to remember, we went through years of not being able to hire virtual assistants. And part of it is we had to learn how to vet them, right? How to make sure that they were a good fit. But then the second part of it was, how do we do that quickly? Because we don't want to have to do 3 rounds of interviews, interview every VA for 4 hours. Like, there's a certain time aspect that's important to entrepreneurs. And then it was, all right, once we've learned how to vet someone, learn how to do it quickly, how do we create SOPs that allow the VAs to own tasks and create tasks and all of that and do tasks at a high level? And then how do we prevent turnover and issues? Because what's the point of all this if people are leaving or they're causing trouble? So that's when the idea of Outsource School it came about, which now it's $1,000 a year to join Outsource School, and you get access to our hiring process that allows you to find players, find them quickly. We provide you with all of our SOPs, plus a software to create your own SOPs, plus have a community and our support and our tactics to help you avoid turnover and avoid issues. So we kind of, again, created a solution that we wish we had back in the day. And it's been a lot of fun helping hundreds of entrepreneurs learn how to scale and avoid issues and grow their businesses with their virtual assistants.
It seems like from the beginning, you were really in the e-commerce space. And that was kind of the fuel that led you down this very interesting path that you've been on. Why were you attracted to e-commerce in the beginning? And did you bring any principles from
that? Yeah. So it's funny when I got to college, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I had some real jobs. I didn't like having a boss and I didn't know what I was going to do, but the easiest way to make money was to start buying and selling textbooks when I was in college. And I started competing with my school store and I would sell these books to different online distributors. And one of them just happened to be Amazon, who was a big textbook distributor, still is. But this was 2008, 2009, before they were really getting into selling lots of other products. And so I eventually got a cease and desist letter from my college telling me to knock it off because I was stealing too much of their business. And by then I really experimented, just played around with Amazon. And this was before there were courses and coaches and gurus and influencers, like none of that really existed. And so I just started experimenting. I thought it was really cool. I could have this 24/7 storefront that I could get money automatically deposited in my bank account. I could practice my customer service skills that I learned from my internship. And so I started just experimenting, and eventually I came across baby products after doing a lot of trial and error, and that Amazon business really took off. So there wasn't some like massive strategy behind it. I kind of fell into it through a lot of trial and error. But I think one of the reasons that I got out of it is just because Amazon controlled everything, right? I wasn't building my own brand. I was drop shipping other people's products. Like they could shut me down at any time. But I still do take a lot of those same e-commerce principles, especially on the customer service side, because on Amazon, if you don't have high level of customer service and process refunds and returns and all of that, you get kicked off very quickly. And even though no one's going to shut down my Outsource School website or free up on me like Amazon would, that you still aren't going to be able to grow a business without that high level of support and this time like self accountability. So I think I learned a lot just about business and growing teams and customer service, and there's certain parts of that apply, and there's obviously certain parts that don't apply as well, although we work with a lot of e-commerce sellers, so it's good to know the industry.
And speaking of the e-commerce sellers that you do work with, what are the things that you see them doing that are different from the ones that are really successful? Like, what are they doing right?
Yeah. So, I mean, hiring for e-commerce and Amazon in particular just adds another level to hiring virtual assistants. Like, let's say that you want to hire a customer service rep for Amazon. And I always tell people this, like, you don't want to teach someone what Amazon is how to use Amazon, and then teach them customer service and teach them how to do it your way. Like, that's a huge investment. It makes every hire very risky. But instead, you want to find people that already know Amazon. And then the challenge becomes, who did they learn Amazon from? Did they learn it correctly? Are they up to date with the right tactics, stuff like that? And then customer service, which isn't the hardest thing in the world. You find someone that has 5 years of Amazon customer service experience or whatever, and then you teach them how you want it done. So a lot of people skip that initial level of how do you don't want to teach someone like if you're going to buy a car, you don't want to teach someone what a car is. You want them to like already know what that is, get that initial thing in. So I think that's the biggest challenge opposed to like hiring for a marketplace or an agency or a coaching program. You need to make sure that the person has that initial skill set before you train them in what you actually want them to do.
And when it comes to building out your team, I feel like there are two very, very competing ideologies here. Some on one side, it's let me delegate the things that I'm not good at, and let me just focus on the things that I am really good at. On the other side, it's let me hire and delegate the things I'm really good at because I can teach those things and then go out and find new opportunity. Where do you fall in that spectrum?
Yeah. So, I mean, we teach this in our free trial of Outsource School that people can grab, but there's 3 different levels of people that you hire: followers, doers, and experts. So the followers, they're $5 to $10 an hour. They're there to follow your system, your process. If you don't have a system and process, if you don't know how to do it, you're going to struggle to hire the followers. The doers are like the graphic designers, the video editors, the writers. You're not teaching a graphic designer how to be a graphic designer, but they're not consulting with you either. They're there to do that one thing at a high level. And then you got the experts, the high-level freelancers, consultants, coaches that bring their own strategy, their own expertise to the table. Now, the truth is you're going to have to hire all 3 levels at some point as an entrepreneur. Now, in my opinion, the best place to start, because hiring's hard and you have to learn how to do it, is with the followers. Because if you make a mistake on the followers, it's a lot less expensive than if you make a mistake on the experts. But to me, it's not 2 competing school of thoughts. It's, hey, at some point you have to figure out what my 1 or 2 core competencies. You can still outsource that, but it's probably the last thing that you're going to outsource. If you're an Amazon seller and you're really good at PPC, you're not going to take PPC off your plate first. That doesn't make any sense. But then you have to figure out, what are the other aspects of my business that I know how to do well, that I have systems for, and those you hire the followers for. Then you figure out, what are the things that I still need done on more of a project basis, but maybe I don't know how to do it. Maybe it's listings or graphics or photos. And then what are the things that I just don't want to deal with? It's not worth my time to spend the next 6 months learning it. And then you hire the expert to come in. Maybe it's growing a brand. Maybe it's getting on Shopify, whatever that is. So it kind of comes down to breaking down those levels. And then you can start to say, okay, I've outsourced all the day-to-day tasks I know how to do. I have experts and doers doing things I don't know how to do. Now, how do I start to outsource the thing that I'm good at, which is the last thing? And you take that thing, let's say it's PPC, you're really good at PPC, and you turn it into, okay, that's 100%. How do I get a VA doing the first 10%, then the second 10%, and making sure they prove themselves at each level before you move them on to the next percentage there, until you finally outsource that last thing. And we did a different examples with Outsource or with FreeUp. I'm decently good at sales on the phone. That's my core competency. I did that for a while at the beginning. We outsourced everything else. And then I hired a VA to learn the first part, which is scheduling the calls, learn the second part, which was the most common questions. And then eventually they were taking the phone calls for me. But I didn't just, hey, it's 30 days into the business, I'm not going to do sales phone calls anymore, because even though that's the thing that I'm the best at. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. And that leads to I guess the next logical piece is, well, how much do we really want to outsource? And how much do you feel like it is possible to outsource in the business?
I mean, I just sold an 8-figure business that was completely run by virtual assistants. We had no office, no US employees, billing, customer service, marketing, social media, blog writing, every single part of it was outsourced. So to me, you're only limited by what you think you're limited to. I've seen everything in the world outsourced. If I haven't done it, I know someone that has. So I know that you can do it. And I mean, at the end of the day, whether you hire US people or non-US people, like that's more of a personal preference than anything else. But bottom line is, if you want to make a business that actually runs without you, that's not just a job, that you can actually sell and scale, or even just create a lifestyle business, you need to be able to hire. You need to be able to hire well, and you have to get out of the mentality that you're the only person that can do what you do, because at the end of the day, that's just not true.
Hi there, Ecom Masters. Mike Weiss here again with a friendly reminder that you've unlocked access to our exclusive podcast-only training on how to create your own supplement, CBD, pet, or skincare brand in just minutes, where we're going to break down from A to Z exactly how to put your own design on top-selling products and start selling in just minutes. It's incredible. Now, the principles that you're going to learn are exactly the same principles that we've used with our customers who did over $2 billion. That's right, with a B, $2 billion in sales last year alone. You cannot afford not to take me up on this free training. So to get immediate 100% complimentary access, all you got to do is go to dropified.com/podcast-special, or you can just click the link below in the show notes. I will see you soon.
So at this point, what are the things that you do focus on?
Yeah, strategy. I mean, we're still in the part of Outsource School where we're in the first 4 or 5 months of it. So we have 300 members. It's going well. We have a team. We have software called Simply SOP. We have a VA that handles that software and does onboarding. So we have all these different things running, but just like the first year of any business, there's a lot of tweaking, whether it's tweaking our messaging, whether it's tweaking the pricing, whether it's tweaking the onboarding process. For me, it's all about going in there and saying, okay, what parts can we let sit for now? And what parts do we have to focus on changing and tweaking and split testing right now? So I try to keep myself in the high level strategy and the tweaking and the trial and error. And one of my favorite parts of doing sales early on in the company. Like right now, if someone wants to schedule a phone call with me, go to outsourceschool.com. You can schedule a call with me. That probably won't be the case in 6 months or a year, but I want to be able to talk to people because that helps me develop my message. That helps me answer common questions, figure out where problems are, what parts not clear, how we can just improve Outsource School as a whole. And then I can take that information and talk to my business partner and make changes. So that's how I kind of go about growing businesses.
That makes a lot of sense. So it seems like you almost want to be in the trenches long enough to really get a feel for it so that you can make the changes you need to make, and then you can eventually duplicate yourself and teach other people to do that part.
Yeah, to an extent. I mean, we have a VA that does live calls in our group. We have a private group for all our paid members, and we do a live call once a week, and my VA handles that. So, I mean, there's plenty of stuff that's, even though it's hands-on in the trenches that I'm not doing, but at the same time, I'm still making sure that I'm a part of, I'm still make sure I'm getting the information I need to make changes going forward.
So what else are you seeing your really top e-commerce customers doing that most people are just not doing well?
From a hiring side or just in general?
In general.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough question because you got to remember, I've never run an agency. I'm not like involved in the client's business. Like they don't report their sales numbers to me. They don't tell me their PPC strategies. Like that's just not something that I'm a part of. I help people more and more on the hiring side. And I mean, if anything, I think that a lot of people freaked out earlier this year when COVID hit, and some Amazon sellers or e-commerce sellers were affected more than others. But I think for a lot of people, it opened up an opportunity, and now they're in the process of where they thought it would be a slow year. They're realizing that it's actually going to be a bigger year, and they're in the process of making sure that their teams are prepared for the fourth quarter, which could be one of the biggest fourth quarters ever. And it might come with its own issues of logistics and shipping and other stuff because we're all at home, we're all ordering stuff. So I think right now that preparation, people are a lot more focused in that we're filming this at the end of the third quarter than maybe in other years, just because it's been a crazy year. We're all locked at home. We're preparing for the worst when it comes to the fourth quarter. And that's kind of what I'm seeing in the e-commerce space.
So moving forward, what are you going to be working on the most? Like you've built and exited a company, you've now built a second company. What are the things that you're working on to get better at, to be better, to do better?
Yeah, I mean, I consider myself a student of just marketing in general. And it's funny, like with every business, you kind of take what you learn and you apply it to the next business. So with my Amazon business, I didn't know how to hire. By the time I left that, I had a really good hiring process. When I started FreeUp, I hired A players right away. The same people I hired in week 1 were with me in year 4 when we sold it. But I didn't know how to market, right? Because Amazon did all my marketing for me. So I I learned organic marketing, and I didn't want to spend money on ads because I don't know, I just didn't see that as my first step in learning marketing. But I got really good at podcasts and affiliates and partnerships and content and all that different stuff. And so once I created a really good organic blueprint, we scaled free up, we sold free up, but we never mastered paid ads with free up. It was just a very tough business, not impossible. The new owners will do a better job than we did, but because it's free to sign up, people start, they stop, they can go 3 months without using anyone. It's just very tough to track stuff back to ads. But now with Outsource School, we know how to hire. We have this organic blueprint run by VAs that we're doing. We're going on podcasts, we have affiliates and all of that. But now how do we add the paid ads, the master classes, the other tactics in there? And that's really the part that I'm not only learning, but building out and doing trial and error at the same time. And hopefully when I leave Outsource School, or maybe I keep Outsource School, I'm not saying I'll sell it, but at some point, hopefully I've mastered hiring, organic, and paid marketing. And then I take on the next thing of whatever that is and continue to up my entrepreneur skills.
And how are you actually going about mastering it? Like, are you getting into masterminds? Are you bringing in people that are really experts on that topic? Like, how are you going about that?
Yeah, I listen to podcasts. I read books. I'm not the biggest mastermind in the world. I've never hired a coach before. I've taken courses, but I'm not a big course guy. So for me, it's a lot of networking and talking to entrepreneurs, reading books, and listening to podcasts.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the flow of business, right? So if we're thinking we have an e-commerce business, we might be a one person shop right now, and we're thinking about, okay, this interview is opening my eyes to, okay, I definitely need to start hiring people. I definitely need to know more about this. I need to be building a team. How do I know when the right time is to do it? Because cash flow might be an issue, might be trying to make a profit, or this might be a side hustle. Like, at what stage in the game do we really need to start hiring people, keeping in mind that there could be cash flow issues?
As early as you possibly can. I mean, if you go to outsourceschool.com/VA calculator, it's a cool tool that helps you create a hiring budget and see what you can actually afford. And a lot of times people can afford more than they think because VAs are relatively cheap. I mean, you can start off with hiring someone 5 hours a week, but I mean, you're never going to hire someone on the exact day that you're supposed to hire someone. You're either going to hire someone too early or too late. And what I've learned is if you hire too late, there's a big opportunity cost that sets your business back. And if you hire too early, the biggest risk is you just don't have a good business model. You haven't proven the business model yet. And at the end of the day, you're going to lose hundreds or a few $1,000s, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that big of a deal for most people. I know we're all in a different position, but for me, it's kind of like, do I care more about the opportunity cost I'm going to lose, or do I care more about a few $100s? And that's why I'm always choosing to hire early. Even with Outsource School, before we even launched, we hired 2 virtual assistants, one for 5 hours a week and one for 5 hours a month, a bookkeeper and someone to be my assistant, to run my inbox, to schedule my meetings, my podcast, stuff like that. And again, if Outsource School failed, then just because I sold another company doesn't mean that every idea I come up with is going to be a good one. So it's definitely possible, or was possible. And if that had happened, I would have been out a few $100s, a few $1,000s. But if I had not hired them and Outsource School took off like it has so far, then I'm backtracking. Then I'm really missing out on all these opportunities that I could be doing because I'm stuck in the day-to-day of my business. So you just have to figure out, do you care more about the small amount of money, or do you care about the opportunity cost? And then grab the Outsource School VA calculator to figure out how many VAs you can actually afford right now.
That makes a ton of sense. So, I know you do a ton of podcasts. You've been on, I believe, over 300 now. So, you obviously share a lot. You talk a lot. What are the things that people never ask you about that are very important and I should definitely ask you about right now?
I'm a big proponent of your ideal day. Like, this is something that I've learned in the past 2 days, where I sat down and I said, all right, when do I like doing podcasts? I like doing them in the afternoon. When time do I like waking up? I like waking up at 7. When do I want to do my most important tasks? I like doing that right when I wake up. When do I want to go to the gym? I like doing that after I've done my most important tasks. And when do I want my day to end? I want it to end by 2:30, 3 o'clock every day. So I really try to structure my ideal day and then have a VA who runs my schedule, runs my calendar around that. And there's always going to be exceptions. Maybe I have to cram 2 podcasts in one day or something like that. But for the most part, 95% of the time, I'm waking up to my ideal day every single day, which is making me more productive, which is making my business grow faster. And I think a lot of people overlook that, and they just try to cram any possible meeting at any given time into their schedule. And if you actually sit down, and if you get our inbox calendar management, we have a tool to do that, and to actually teach it to your virtual assistant, then you're going to be a lot better off going forward.
So you're 7 to 2:30 every day.
Pretty much. Again, there's always exceptions to every rule, but yeah, I mean, like today I'm traveling, I'm on vacation, so today I'm ending at noon. So there's exceptions both ways.
That's amazing. Well, Nathan, man, it's been truly a pleasure, and I appreciate you sharing some of your valuable vacation time today. And I really appreciate you coming on and sharing everything that you have. It's always a pleasure, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. And to everybody who's watching and listening, I want to thank you, and I will see you on the next episode. Take care now.
Hello again, Ecom Masters. Mike Weiss here again with a big thank you for sticking with us to the end of this episode. I know how valuable your time is, and I want to congratulate you for setting yourself apart from the pack by investing your attention into this podcast. Now, make sure to maximize this time by taking notes while it's still fresh, listening to the episode multiple times if you need to, and implementing what you have learned right away into your own business. Now, if you're looking for a little bit more training and want to learn the step-by-step methodology that you need to build the e-com business of your dreams, I want you to join me for an exclusive invite-only training that I'm only giving specifically for podcast listeners. Now, in it, we're going to share the secrets of what we've used to scale Dropified into the 2019 5,000 number 55 fastest growing company in America. You will not find this information anywhere else, guaranteed. To get immediate 100% free access, all you got to do is go to dropified.com/podcast-special, or just click the link below and in the show notes, and I will see you on the other side.